A mom and her kids were rammed head-on by police car. Cops had the wrong person. I just saw today another video in New York of a cop car, an SUV, just you saw as like a security camera footage, and across the street you saw the cop car coming, and it goes across the oncoming lane and just slams into a corner of a building. It hit a bunch of people. There were kids injured, people that were standing on the street, on the sidewalk. So much damage caused by this cop that lost control of their car. I mean, they didn't slow down. It seemed like it looked like they were intentionally ramming into somebody and just slammed their car into. Ridiculous. But this one, apparently the police were going to use their car to ram into somebody they thought was a quote-unquote bad guy. And we all know cops do not value life. Death is their first instinct, to cause death upon anybody they feel may, on some level, be a threat in some way, maybe. I don't know. But let's just, better safe than sorry as far as the cops are concerned, to, I better eliminate this person's life before finding out anything about him. Right? Because the worst that would happen to me is unemployment. Unless this cop accidentally or intentionally, unless this cop kills somebody and that death sparks global protests, right? Like George Floyd. Global protest where people all over the entire world protested the police brutality and the killing. That is one of the only times a police officer will get charged and convicted. But the vast majority of times that the police officers knowingly and intentionally end human life usually just get suspended. Sometimes paid, sometimes unpaid. I mean, we look at all the police officers from Uvalde, and I mean almost 400 law enforcement people, heavily armed, waiting around an hour, pretty much doing everything to help the shooter, actively keeping away anybody that actually wanted to stop the mass shootings from happening, right? They aided the shooter in every way possible. Only until recently did those police officers get suspended. Not unemployment, suspensions, right? Talk about dragging your feet for a little slap on the hand. It is so rare that police officers get punished accurately and accordingly to the crimes that they commit regularly. On a regular basis, police officers murder unarmed men, women, and children. Unarmed. Maybe they have something in their hands that the cop can use as an excuse for why they ended a life. But the majority of the time, it's not. There's a video pretty recently about a guy eating McDonald's in his car, and a cop comes up and just instantaneously unloads on this kid eating McDonald's in a parking lot. It is like they are the largest terrorist threat to American citizens, right? If you are a parent of a child, do not let your kid out in public holding anything, especially a toy gun, because the police will use an object in a hand as an excuse to end their life. It is illegal in the view of police for a citizen to hold a thing in their hands. Toy gun, candy, lighter, vape pen, car keys, something in your hand. Maybe. A lot of times they don't even need something. They can just say you had something in your hand. A lot of times whatever story, whatever weak-ass story a police officer can imagine on the spot to justify ending a life, the police department will run with it. The news organizations will run with it. Everybody will run with it. Any kind of investigation that might happen is done by the people who perpetrate the crimes in general. So nothing happens. The only time anything might happen is if their murder causes global protests. So this is disgusting. There's no reason for cops to be using their vehicle in order to kill anybody. And the fact that they got the wrong person isn't surprising, because that happens quite a bit as well. Usually with these no-knock warrants where they break into somebody's house and shoot whoever's alive inside. You're sleeping in your bed? Well, that was your last dream. Staying at a friend's house? Well, that's the last time you're hanging out. Right? Wrong people get killed. They break into the wrong houses. Although apparently the Breonna Taylor thing, where it was the wrong house, apparently that was an intentional hit, which isn't surprising. But there needs to be federal regulations on cops, which there is none. It is up to the specific police precinct in every specific area to come up with whatever rules they want. There is no federal regulation for police officers. There needs to be federal regulation to specifically identify their jobs, what to do, what not to do. There needs to be a complete and utter audit on every single police department, right? We need to find out all of the officers that have records that nothing is done about, and they need to be ejected immediately. They need to be charged accordingly. All of the reckless spending that goes on, these giant budgets that all these police departments have that are exponentially larger than any other public service, need to be chopped down, because those budgets are used to pay victims through lawsuits. Because the police, the only way they're punished is lawsuits, and the only people that pay for those lawsuits are the citizens through their tax dollars. It is disgusting. So they need to be regulated, they need to be audited, and they need to be heavily defunded, because they get way too much money, way too many tax dollars for what they do to our society, for the people they kill on a regular basis, for the harassment, for the terrorizing they do. They need to be defunded heavily. They need to stop being sent to mental health crises. We need to realize that the police do not stop crime. They do not solve crimes in many instances. They cause crimes. And those people should not be collecting tax money for openly, freely ending life and causing crimes and terrorizing citizens that live in this country. And this is just another example of how absolutely disgusting the police are. And now everybody can cry in my comments about it. You're wrong. My cousin's really nice. You would really like him. Well, your cousin works with murderers. And every single police officer, quote unquote, good cop that tries to investigate, expose corruption, bad policing, murders, all those things, those people get killed, they get chewed up and spit out. They don't exist. Good cops get ejected immediately. Right? That needs to be the complete opposite. Every single bad cop needs to have that kind of treatment. They need to be expelled They need to be filtered out. They shouldn't exist in those positions of power. But that's not, it's completely flipped. It is a institution that is populated by horrible people, and the only quote-unquote good people that might be part of that system aren't doing anything, and if they do, would be ejected. So there are no good cops. If good cops existed, bad cops wouldn't. And that's just not the reality we're living in.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.